Hi everyone, welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and a build finale of Revell's 32 Ford 3-window coupe street rod. Hey, this has been a fun build. Let me get these guys out of the way and we'll go over some of the stuff that we've had happen here. They've been working their tails off the past few days to get this thing finished. And finished, they did a great job on this thing. Check this out. I've had some people comment about the flames, that they didn't really care for them. But I'll tell you what, they sure make it look like not look like a taxi from looking straight down on it. And that's really what we wanted to do. You can see the headlights are lit. No bumpers on the front. I wanted the cleaner look, but I did want the fenders. The back, I used the oval taillights, and then I didn't have the red inserts for them, so I just painted those with the Tamiya's clear red. I used an Indiana plate because I wanted a yellow on a yellow and everything, and that worked out really well because my printer's not up and functioning. Flames on the side with the black, with those rims, I think is a win. I love it. While we're on the side, let's keep rolling underneath. Everything's chromed out. It's supposed to be chromed out. We got, while that's doing it, I'm going to pull the trunk lid and that off, and I'll show you how that works in a second. But we got all our suspension in up front and done. We got our back suspension in. We have our wires run. And I really like how these kind of hit out this time. They fell right into a place where they were supposed to go, rocked them underneath, tucked them in, ran them, and dropped them in, both sides. And if you take a good look, they sure do look like brake wires and fuel line. So I didn't go into running the brakes and the fuel lines. I thought we're good enough here the way it is. So I left those go with the wires that come back there anyhow. Our pipes went on after the chassis was all put together and the engine was dropped in, because I wanted to make sure that they lined up. There was no fudging around with these. They had to be perfect. So I put a dab of glue here and here, and I put 4 dabs of glue on the heads on both sides, one at a time. And with my really fine needle nose tweezers, just kind of fished them up and in and put them in. And once those were in, and all these wires were run, because I had to run the wires first, just so stuff wasn't in a way, then I was able to put in the front suspension, tires and everything. So that helped, and that made everything disappear. If you look really close, you might be able to see the wire in there running down the fender well. I ran it as tight as I could up this way on both sides, just to make it kind of disappear, and I think it did a good job. So let's flip this bad boy back over on its tires where it's supposed to be, and you can see the battery is in the back. It worked out really well. I have to use tweezers to pull it in and take it out, but that's it. I have 2 little metal tabs on the bottom here that were sticking way out. I cut them off nice and flush. And remember, I put the 2 rare earth magnets in here to hold this in place, and I also use that as the contacts. So I brought the wires, positive on one side, negative on the other side, and then I used my aluminum tape to hold the wire in place, make contact, and all that all at one time. So now, when you take your battery, I have to turn this around because I'm right-handed. When I take the battery and put it in, all I have to do is grab that little bottom bracket right there to hold it, no problems. Take it and click. Get it to where it's nice and got good contact. Let's try there. There we go. And we have headlights. Just as easy as that. It doesn't like to be tilted back. It rocks. But see there? And if anybody picks it up and looks at it this way and the lights stay on, that's fine. But you set it down on the ground and those lights are lit. And they put out a nice amount of color, nice amount of light. I used yellow lights on here. I used yellow lights on here, and I like them a lot better than the white. When I do a modern car, I'll use white on them. But for this one, the yellow works good. As I was building this, I notched a piece in here, and I glued a rare earth magnet right here. And then I took and I drilled almost all the way through this trunk, and I put a rare earth magnet right there. This rare earth magnet, I'll show you what that does in a minute, but that's just super glued in place. Take this, it goes and it hits that magnet, and now it drops it right in place, and it's held in place. So it doesn't fall out unless you flip it upside down like I did. But now I got to get to the battery. That's where that other rare earth magnet plays in. I'll bring my pliers over, pick it up, and out of the way it goes. So that one's just helped get it open because I didn't want to put a handle on here that I knew the third time I go to take this thing off and look and do the battery, I would have busted it off. I didn't glue the hood on because on a sunny day, they might want to run it with the hood off, you know? I would. But on a rainy day, you're going to throw that thing on there, and look at how nice that fits. It just drops right into place, just fine and dandy. The interior you all saw, I had no problems with it. I did have to make the front and back windows. I did do a video. We'll see how it comes out. If it comes out good, I will post it. But this thing is really a nice kit. Let me show you a picture of this kit right here. This is what it looked like when I got it. The body was pretty well etched because the Rust-Oleum just dug into the plastic. So after 2 weeks in LA Awesome, it stripped the paint. I got it down to that, and then I had to paint it a few times just to get it to smooth out. Now, this paint isn't the best paint job that you're gonna ever see in the world by any means, but let me tell you what, for what this kit looked like and what it looked like after the first couple of paint jobs, I'm tickled to death with it. It really came out nice. I got a nice shine on it. I don't have any deep pits, scratches or anything, so I'm happy with that. As happy as I can be. I did cut out the front vent, and all I did was I drilled the 4 corners and then took my etch tool and kept going over it until I cut it out. And then this is just a piece of evergreen that I cut to fit with 2 little pieces on the side for the little winglets to make it to where it goes up and down. And that is that. I didn't put a windshield wiper on this thing because I wanted a cleaner look. I did remember to put the rear view mirror in there though, this time. The engine is wired. I used yellow. This is 0.3 millimeter solder like I always use. I used flat lemon yellow, Tamiya's lemon yellow, or I think it's just flat yellow. For those, the return spring, I made it with some AWG wire, just spun that around a needle, pulled it off, glued it in place, walked away proud. The linkage going back for the throttle control or the throttle cable is just Tamiya's rubber black painted on 0.3 millimeter solder. I use that 0.3 millimeter solder quite a bit. Had to make a belt for the alternator because it was broken off, and I just used a piece of real thin evergreen that I had and cut that and put that on. That went really well. On this side, I do have fuel lines run. I did glue the air cleaner down, so the fuel lines are there, but they're pretty well hidden up underneath. I don't know if this will even try to focus. They're kind of hidden up underneath there, but they're there. They run to the back. This has an electric fuel pump in it. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it because I didn't see a fuel pump on the front. So there is that. The engine, radiator hoses. Took me an hour and a half to find the one that was on the bottom because I knocked it off. Spent all kinds of time looking for it just to find that it was actually stuck on the bottom right here. That's after I crawled around the floor for, I don't know, half an hour or 45 minutes trying to find it. But there we go. How cool is that, though? This is just a little piece from Amazon, battery holder. I can put that in the description. The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to show everybody, because I've had a bunch of people ask about my 0.4 or my 4/0 paintbrush that I got. This is an Amazon buy, but I'll tell you what, look at how fine that brush is. And that's how I do a lot of my little tiny detail work on these, is with this 4/0 brush. I baby this thing because I only have one. I'm going to order another one soon, but that's it. And it's a very, very nice brush. Let me put the back on here, the front back on here, and what do you say we pull up some pictures with some music and run this through. Thanks everybody for following along. Thumbs up, all the kind comments and the suggestions and everything to help me keep this thing rolling. They really, really helped. I did have a blast. But anyhow, you guys have a great night and enjoy the music. Thanks again.